Hi guys, and welcome back to Miyuki Crochet. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to crochet a triangle bikini top. You will need a crochet hook. Today I'm using a 3.75mm hook. You will need a yarn needle, and you will need yarn. If you're new to crochet, please refer to my video how to crochet. If not, let's get started. So you're going to do a slip knot. You're going to chain 10. And then you're going to single crochet along your chain. When you get to the last chain, you're going to single crochet 3. And then what you're going to do is you're going to single crochet down on the other side of your work. So normally we go up and down, but to get the shape that we want, we are going to go like this. Alright, so just keep single crocheting down the back of the foundation chain. What I like to do too is I like to keep the little tail like this, so that in that way I know which side is the inside and the outside of my cup, because I always find there's one side that's a little nicer than the other one. So this is a good marker, and it just keeps it a little cleaner. And you'll notice that when you're crocheting on the back of the foundation stitch, it's a little bit different than if you're crocheting back on this part where you have the V's. So just grab the chain space that you can. It's pretty evident which one's which. Keep going. Alright. When you get to the end, your work will look something like this. What you're going to do now is chain 1 and then turn your work around. So the side that was facing you is now away from you, and the side that was facing you is now away from you. So like this, and you're going to single crochet in all the chain spaces. So you go here, the first chain counts as your first single crochet. Right, and then just single crochet to the top. When you get to the top, which is about here, you're going to again do 3 single crochets in the same one. So I've already done 1, and then I'm going to do 2 more in the same chain space, the same single crochet. So as you can see, you're starting to create more of a point. When you add those 3 stitches there, you're creating the shape that you're going to be getting. And I know you can't tell now, but it starts shaping up. And then just keep single crocheting down. So basically you're working in a horseshoe pattern. You go around the bottom, you turn back around. Alright, so again, when you get to the bottom, you're going to chain 1. Starts to look something like this. Chain 1 and then single crochet all the way up. Keeping a good tension so that your work doesn't slide. And when you're working with cotton, I find it kind of gets your hands a little bit more sore. I don't know why. So take breaks if you need to stretch your fingers. Again, you get to the top and you're going to do 3 single crochet. And then go down around. You can kind of see how it's going to shape up when you keep adding and adding and adding. So again, you're going to chain 1 and then single crochet again in your horseshoe-like trajectory. Keep going. Again, doing 3 single crochet in the top. And then just single crocheting down. So basically you're going to repeat that step. So you're going to chain 1 single crochet at the top, 3 single crochets in the top, back down, chain 1, single crochet, 3 at the top, go down, chain 1. You're going to keep doing that step until you find the cup size that's good for you. One way to tell is just hold it up to your breast and see if it covers enough for you or not. And meet me back when you're done. After you're done your rows, your project will look like this. You see you have a nice cup. Let's see that, and you can see all the little triangles that we did. And you're going to cut your yarn, and then you have your tail. You're just going to take your hook like this and pull your tail through the loop like so, and then just tug. Alright, so what you're going to do now is you're going to repeat the same thing for the second cup, but this time you're not going to cut your yarn at the end. So basically same thing, you're going to chain 10, you're going to single crochet to the top, you're going to do 3 single crochets in that chain space, then you're going to single crochet down the other side and chain 1, and then do the same thing and same thing and same thing. You can either count your rows, or what I do is, because I always lose count, I just take my 2 cups, put them on top of each other, and you can clearly see if one is bigger than the other, and then you can just undo it if so. So meet me back here when you have your second cup. After you're done making both of your cups, you still have your second cup attached to your yarn. What you're going to do is you're going to chain 2 like this, and you're going to single crochet along the bottom part of the cup. This is just to clean up the look. So there, as you can see, the stitches are not exactly defined at the bottom, but it's okay. You're going to see you did chain 2. There is a space that your chain 2 is attached to. You're going to go in the second one from your hook like this and single crochet. And basically you're going to single crochet along and just grabbing the stitches you can find. It's not exactly clear where is where, but it's okay. So just single crochet at the bottom. Making sure you don't miss any. So it looks like this. Alright, so we're just cleaning it up here, because if we leave it like it was before, it's kind of jagged and it's not very pretty. So once you get to the end of there, you're going to chain 2. And I chain 2 because I like my girls to stay nicely in their place and not move around, but you're free to add 3 to 4 depending. Basically right now working on connecting the 2 cups. So if you were to do 3 or 4, you would just have cups that are further apart from each other. Make sure they're lined up correctly so that you have where you're working on the same side for each cup. So way to know that is the tails. Alright, so once they're lined up, you're going to work like this. A little bit easier this way. So you've done your 2 single crochet. You're going to slip stitch into the space here. Sometimes it's hard to find your space, but basically you just want to make sure it's aligned. So I slip stitch inside there, and then if you want, you could look and say, okay, is it even, is it not even, when you flip it around. So that's a good way to know. So what you're going to do now is you're going to single crochet on the cup. So, and like I said, the spaces are not exactly clear, so just try to get into the bottoms where you can. And just single crochet till you get to the end of this cup. Alright. Once you get to the end, so you've attached them like so. Once you get to the end, what you're going to do is chain 2. turn your work around and we're going to single crochet again. Because you really want it to have a clean look. You could end here if you want, but I like it to be very unified, so I want to make sure that there's no ragged edges anywhere. So you see here you've chained 2, so you're not going to go into the one closest to the hook. You're going to go in the one right beside that. Alright, so now, as you can see, it's looking like a bikini top. So what you're going to do now is you're going to make these straps for the bikini top. So you're basically just going to want to make a chain. The chain is entirely up to you how long you want to do. It just depends on how much space you need. And I like to have enough room that I can do a nice bow in the back. Little details that I find add a very nice touch. So yeah, just keep chaining until you're satisfied. My chain measures about 20 inches, but you can chain more or less depending on what you like. You're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut. I like to give myself a little bit of room so I can make a nice knot at the end. So cut. And take your crochet hook or your fingers, and then you're just going to take your hook in the loop and pull your yarn through the loop like this, pulling it through, and then give it a nice little tug. What I like to do as an extra finishing touch and make sure that it doesn't undo is when I get this part, I like to just make a knot with the whole work. Even like that, see? It makes it a little bit more, I find, finished, and I know that it's not going to undo when I do this. What you're going to do is make a strap on the other side. So you have a little space here. You're going to insert your crochet hook. Pull your yarn through, like so. And then I like to give it a good 2 knots at least. Alright, and then you're going to start your chain. So you're going to insert your hook to make your first loop, like this. And then just chain. And again, you want them to be the same size all around, so little details that help things look nice and organized. So you can either count, but as I mentioned, I always lose count of everything, so I just like to measure. That way it is a foolproof method. I don't have to stress while I'm making it. I can just zone out. And you're going to do the same thing at the top of your cup. So I always like to make sure that all my end pieces and little knickknacks are always on the inside, so then that way when I weave them in at the end, it just looks better, it looks cleaner. So again, attach it at the top of your triangle, do 2 double knots like this. Again, see? All the tails in the inside. And then you're going to insert your hook at the top and then pull your yarn through like that. So you have your first chain one. And then you're going to keep chaining. And again, you want to do the same thing again at the top. So my chain measured about 20 inches. That's just enough to give, for me, a nice bow in the back, but you can go longer or shorter. I wouldn't suggest going too short because then you're not going to have much leg room to make a beautiful bow or anything. Alright, keep going. Once you're satisfied with the length, you can just chop it off. Again, take your crochet hook, pull through, and tie a big knot like so. So you want to do the same thing on the other side. So you're going to attach your yarn and then chain. And just compare the sides to make sure that they are even. Cut your yarn, pull through your tail through the loop, and then make another knot, and then just take your two top pieces and cut off the extra yarn. Now you're going to grab your yarn needle and you're going to clean up all the tails. So starting with the one in the center, and just weave them all in and cut them off. And there you have it, a crochet bikini top. So now all you have to do is try it on. Thank you so much for watching today's tutorial on how to crochet a triangle bikini top. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you'd like to see me do other videos like this one, just comment below. As always, keep toasty.